Governor Northam says the public has a right to know how and why findings of wrongdoing were removed from a state government watchdog report on the Virginia Parole Board before it was submitted to his office last July. Now, CBS 6 crime insider John Burkett has obtained emails that show who the original version of the report was shared with 1 month before.
And John also got his hands on emails that show the confusion that erupted when the parole board decided to revisit an inmate's case just weeks after he was denied release.
And this isn't a witch hunt. It's not trying to drag anybody down or falsely accuse anyone. But I think there's a process that we can set into place, hear evidence, hear testimony, and require that under Virginia code, which we can, and see where this goes.
Republican Senator Bryce Reeves and Democratic Senator John Bell are both asking for a committee to convene to look at the state parole board, which has been the subject of several inspector general investigations over the past year.
Quite frankly, we're at a stalemate, and I think John and I are going back and looking at how we can convince our colleagues to go ahead and move forward in light of all the information that has since come out in Governor Wilder's statement as well that you reported on, and the inaction of the executive branch to do anything.
On top of a highly critical 13-page draft report in which OSIG details a number of violations in the Vincent Martin case, now CBS 6 has obtained emails from the former parole board chair Adrian Bennett and current chair Tanya Chapman that deal with the release of another inmate. Hugh Brown was denied parole last March, but just 1 month later, the board did an about-face. The email thread starts in April of 2020 with then-Chairman Bennett sending messages to Lisa Bowen, the Victim Impact Coordinator, and Laura Hall, the Executive Secretary. It reads, "We're going to revote this case. There's one registered victim. It does not appear the NG or not granted notice has gone out. Any way to stop the notification? Notifying victims' families has been at the forefront of parole board policies broken, according to the IG." In another email, it shows where a victim is confused as to why she wasn't notified of a prisoner's release through VineLink, a database with information about incarcerated inmates. Part of Chapman's response to a colleague, put simply, the board has the authority to reconsider cases previously voted. The board understands the confusion and stress the decision may cause a family.
If this thing is as broad as the Attorney General's office and there's an email out there that you've uncovered already.
Reeves, who hasn't even seen the emails, says this is what he knows so far.
Because there's enough there to fire people or at least put them on administrative leave. But it's crickets. It's nothing. Somebody up there is in charge of all this. Who is it that's just tampering this stuff down?
A comment in regard to the final version of the Inspector General's report on the Martin case, which was about 7 pages shorter than one compiled last June. An email obtained by CBS 6 shows that a Deputy Inspector General shared that longer report with the Attorney General's office on June 16th. A spokesperson for the AG telling CBS 6, "There's nothing newsworthy, noteworthy, or nefarious about a state agency looping in their lawyer. As the investigating agency, OSIG is ultimately responsible for both the process and final product, and any input from our office to a state agency will just be advice about legal questions and points of law."
To take the politics out of the dadgum issue and just let's get to the truth. And so I really am hopeful that this will happen, because I don't know what our next recourse is. If the Attorney General is tainted, then I don't trust the Attorney General's office to handle it. The IG certainly has his own issues. The governor's office needs to stay separated from it, but the parole board responds to them. So, next course of action, I guess, is to call in the feds and DOD and have them come down and start throwing subpoenas around and indicting folks and those sort of things. And, I don't know if that's the course of action it takes. So I'd like to handle our business. Keep our laundry inside Virginia.
And the spokeswoman for OSIG telling us it follows its standard administrative investigation process for all hotline investigations. That includes seeking legal advice if necessary. Working for you tonight, John Burkett, CBS 6 News.